As DDNet regulars know, I'm not typically a fan of the military game genre. With that said, I do know that World of Tanks is meant to be something special. So when I had a chance to jump onto the beta of the Xbox 360 version, I couldn't resist. And I'm glad I did. As far as I'm concerned, World of Tanks lives up to its reputation. A nice brief tutorial got me up and running into the main game in virtually no time at all, while also giving me the sense that this is going to be a fairly complex experience over the long term, and it's going to take me quite a while to properly master. The very fact that when you're sniping long range you need to take into account the movement of the enemy tank was enough to really grab my attention. If I am going to play a military wargame, I do want it to be fairly accurate in terms of military strategy. And within the first 5 minutes of World of Tanks, I got the sense that this is a fairly serious simulation of tank battles. As a fan of military strategy, I was also really intrigued by the sheer number of tanks that were available to acquire. I wasn't such a fan of the fact that each of these tanks could be upgraded, because that felt a little bit gamey to me. But as far as I'm concerned, any game that encourages me to click over to Wikipedia to do some supplementary reading is a game that's worth meriting. And here with World of Tanks, I regularly found myself doing some reading about the various models. Naturally though, all of that background would be for nothing if the game wasn't interesting to play as well. And thankfully I found the large maps and skirmish nature of the combat very enjoyable indeed. With each battle you only get the one life, so if your tank gets destroyed, that's it, you're out for the game. And I like that. It added attention to each firefight and really made you think about what you were doing before you went rushing headlong into an enemy camp. The maps are absolutely filled with ambush spots, with buildings to hide behind and foliage to hide within to give yourself some temporary concealment. Naturally, because the stakes are so high, victory often relies on teamwork, and therein lies my only real problem with World of Tanks so far. As with just about every other online multiplayer game out there, there is a toxic element within the community, and yes, I was fairly often subjected to verbal abuse. With muting not really being an option, considering you need to be communicating with your other teammates to be successful, I found the ability to report and deal with the toxic elements of the community not nearly robust enough for this kind of game. It really does frustrate me that I can have my experience of a game that I'm otherwise really enjoying damaged or ruined completely because some people just can't play nice. And I'm hoping that when the full release comes around, the developers are willing to crack down hard on these people because they really don't add anything to the community. That nastiness aside, World of Tanks is really a lot of fun and I can't wait for the full version. It looks really good on the Xbox 360, the tanks drive around quite nicely and the action is quite intense. Obviously it's going to look better on the Xbox One, but for those people who are not willing to upgrade just yet, I do hope that a healthy and long-term community builds around this game.